Yo, you should over here. You should over here, brother. Yo, you better watch out. Hey, brother. This is my brother, bro. Okay? Hey, come on, chill. Come with me, okay? Okay. You, get out the car. Out the car.
Calm down, he's
Get out the car.
I gotta go to the hospital, my leg.
Did you hear the widely shared tweet that said, "If you really look into it, you'll see that there are a lot of holes in King Vaughn's death. If anything, he would be the one to stage his death for all the murder cases he was about to face, because after King Vaughn's death, he was tied into the lead role of FBG Duck's death by paying O-Black members." This is when members of the group tweeted, "Van survived his 2 surgeries, woke up screaming for his firearm, went into shock, then passed with only 1 more surgery to go." The $250,000 for the hit included several other Chicago murders, as described in Trap Laura Ross's King Vaughn documentary.
Vaughn made it through 2 surgeries. He had 3 surgeries ago. He made it through 2 surgeries. And then after the second surgery, he hopped off the bed and started fighting the nurse and said where his gun at. And he went and he died because he went into shock. So he was making 2 surgeries. How hours later, Kayla know, talking about some, he fought the nurse. She the one told me that. His mama didn't even know that. How you knowing what's going on inside the hospital that quick?
Indicating that King Vaughn was still alive after being shot and even alive in the hospital. But as you look into his death more, you find that there are gaps in the story. On the evening of November 5th, 2020, Van and his group went to a club in Atlanta to celebrate the release of his album, Welcome to O-Black. The event was meant to be a celebration of Van's success in rap, but nobody realized that it would end with Van being taken to the hospital. Van was always ready because he knew how dangerous it was to be caught in public, and his crew consisted of 25 people spread across 8 vehicles. Van's manager, 100K Track, had mentioned how seriously he took his security when he went to the
travel one security that moves with Vaughn, and he traveled with 2 more security. You know what I'm saying? Vaughn traveled in a proof truck, and not only that, his guys are security, man. He travels with 10 to 15 guys daily. They protect and love Vaughn more than any security would. We're like, I think we're about 8-10 cars deep, 20-25.
However, during the party, everything was fine, and everyone was happy for King Van's success, even though Vaughn acted differently on this particular night. Instead of being safe with his security, he would act out and endanger his life. However, when the party ended early on November 6th, his team left the club with the intention of going back to their hotels for the night. But King Van abruptly changed his plans.
Mine leaving the club is that we're going to the hotel and the Airbnb, because that's normal routine. The club he went to, the after hours, wasn't getting paid for. I didn't have no acknowledgement of. His team didn't have no acknowledgement of. That was a complete.
To the fact that Van's entire entourage was returning to their Airbnbs, Van instructed his driver to go to another club instead, since he wanted to visit the Monaco Lounge after learning that Quando Rondo was nearby.
Everybody else that was with us driving to the Airbnb, and Vaughn literally went to the venue by himself. We got a call later from people in the car, like, "Hey bro, we here by," matter of fact, I think from his DJ was like, "Hey bro, you know we here by ourselves, like where you guys at?" And everybody rerouted.
Somehow, Van and the other members of his truck didn't tell the rest of the team that they were heading to a different club until they got to Monaco. At that point, the rest of the team changed their plans to go to the new club. But when they arrived, Van's manager noticed that Van wasn't in the same mood as he had been at the party. He was sitting quietly in the back of the truck and not talking to anyone.
Reason Vaughn wasn't himself. This man is like, I promise you, the best artist I ever moved in my life. For some reason that night, it was off. Like, he stayed in the car for like 30.
After 30 minutes of persuasion, Van finally consented to enter the club. However, because of Monaco's club regulations, Van's team was required to leave their firearms in their automobiles. Security checked the club to ensure everything was secure before Van entered.
Went to the car he was in, I was like, "Yo, Vaughn." Went inside the passenger seat. I'm like, "Yo, Vaughn, bro, what's going on? Like, you know, everybody here waiting, let's go." He was like, "All right, let's go." We're telling security, "Hey, it's time to go in now. Vaughn's ready." You know what I'm saying? We've been here too long. Let's go inside the club. They check the venue, go inside, check the outside, make sure there's no.
But since Van and a few other members remained outside the club, one of Van's buddies saw Quando Rondo and his group sitting in their car attempting to get some rest. He informed King Van that there was danger outside the parking lot. Interview U4 32U442 King leaped out of the truck and walked to Toe's car right away. Van's team attempted to reassure him, but he persisted in passing Kwando's vehicle and going around it until he came across Kwando and began swinging at him.
Jumped out the car. By the time Vaughn jumped out the car, I don't even think he knew where so-and-so was. He just jumped out the car. He bumped into so-and-so. As soon as he bumped into so-and-so, started brawling.
With the altercation just beginning. From the opposite side of the vehicle, Kwando's friend Lul Tim leaps out with a gun and points it at King Van. Tim strikes Vaughn many times and his manager once in the thigh, but when Van's team understood what was happening, one of them took out his own gun and took revenge on Lil Tim, causing him to collapse a few feet from Van and Kwando. To make matters worse, off-duty police officers down the street heard the commotion and arrived at the scene, which further deteriorated the situation and led to a member of King Kwando and Vaughn stayed on the street next to one another as Vaughn's gang passed by. According to Van's manager, he held Kwando Rondo in front of him to protect himself from the gunfire.
Was he trying to take Von's chain or?
Honest truth, I don't think B-Roy had no jewelry on, and from the people that was a little bit closer, Vaughn was actually holding onto him like, man, you ain't going nowhere. Like, you here, like, even through getting he's that strong, like, he was literally holding.
The next objective, however, was to get Vaughn to the hospital as soon as the situation had subsided. To that aim, one of his best friends, Mua, dashed into the middle of the road and simultaneously picked up King Vaughn. Kwando hurried off of the scene, leaping in their white vehicle and driving to the hospital, but after being put into it, they sped off in that direction. Surprisingly, Van remained conscious the entire time and told his crew that he would be all right.
He was in the car. I myself wasn't there. The gentleman that was in the car with him was panicking, and Vaughn was the one that was like, hey, calm down, slow down, chill, I'm gonna be good, just get me to the hospital. And honest truth, we all thought that the way he was carrying himself from that incident, from what I was told from the people in the car.
But as soon as they brought Vaughn to the ER, they hurried him into surgery, where he supposedly passed after 2 procedures. However, according to recent sources, Van survived the surgeries, but when he woke up, as Boozy described it, he started to worry while in the hospital bed and leapt out, searching for his gun, which he would regrettably park.
Like you said, the King Von situation, like there was absolutely no reason for Von to be rolling around with that dude. Like, there was no, especially since he had security, like, you know, someone should have jumped in. It should never even,
King
I almost feel like, but I almost feel like if you have real security,
all them niggas supposed to blast. I feel like they would have been more ready in Chicago.
sad, man, sad. I mean, the whole King Von thing is really kind of hanging
that me up,
over
bro.
everyone right now.
That me up, bro. Cause I like King Von.
Nonetheless, the news of King Von's death rocked the rap industry. King Vaughn was someone who no one would have imagined getting into a feud with another rapper because he was typically extremely cautious, and people would be afraid of him rather than the other way around.
Made national headlines as officials confirmed one of the 3 people shot was rapper King Von from Chicago, who was here last night with friends.
2 groups of individuals got into a physical altercation. That physical altercation escalated into an exchange.
Regrettably, Oblak's downfall happened soon after, since all of the remaining members of that lifestyle are terrified whenever they go out in public, as demonstrated by this Instagram Live, where they are ensuring that the streets are vacated to view a mural of
Check it out, let's walk over here and see this Von picture. I know it's a lot of ops on this. I'm letting y'all see where I'm at. Why is this black truck still right here? Man, watch that truck. Watch that truck right there.
Kwando's crew sided with Van's best friends, Lil Durk and F. They knew they had to take action because they couldn't allow Kwando's to get away with what they did. Because a year after Van's death, a major hit was made against Kwando's crew. Lil Tim survived his injuries, but the following day, he was charged with King Vaughn's death. However, the case would be dismissed after his lawyers claimed it was in self-defense for Kwando.
Now the search is on for 3 people who police say at a Savannah rapper, a member of his entourage. It happened in Los Angeles, and cameras...
Highly valuable member of Kwando's team, Lil Pab, would be removed due to the hit, causing Wando Rondo to experience the same suffering that Van's teammates had only a year.
This man, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight.
But Dirk claimed to be the one behind the successful song he released. And the lyrics even reference Quando Rondo, screaming when he learned that Lil Pab had "Look at the news and see your son screaming no." Dirk rapped as it went by. Quando has now given up the feud and made an effort to keep his distance from the streets after realizing it was no longer worth it.